Peace and welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. First up, let's talk about what happened out in Mar-a-Lago just yesterday as the FBI raided former President Trump's residence in Florida. Now the Republicans are trying to rally a defense to protect the former president, even if that's not their guy. We're going to try to explain this insanity of that approach. We'll have that conversation. Also, let's talk a little bit about what's happening across the country as we're seeing a number of big issues. Folks, I got a lot to get to. We're going to talk about Beyonce and some more stuff that came out around that situation and a whole lot more. So stay with us. It's a lot to get to on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to the show. As you can see, I'm outside enjoying this beautiful, beautiful weather today. But I'm so happy that you're able to join us today here on for another set of conversations about some of the top issues that are happening across the country and, of course, that are affecting our people. So thank you so much for tuning into The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Folks, we got a lot to talk about today, and so I want to jump right into it because, one, everybody has been talking about what happened in Florida yesterday in Mar-a-Lago. If you're not familiar, that is the residence of former President Donald Trump as he tries to figure out what is essentially going on as the FBI has raided his residence looking for information, most importantly, classified documents that they say the president took when he left office. Now, this has been going on for months, folks. This is not the first time that we've been talking about this. If you remember, we had a guest from the National Archives basically saying to us, a sister who said, look, it is tradition that presidents do not touch any classified documents once they leave office, that they submit those documents to the National Archives where they can be stored and just kept on file for historical purposes, and to make sure that no classified information, top secrets of any kind, will be exposed or will be shared with the general public. However, we're not talking about a president that is a person that follows tradition. We're talking about Donald Trump. So as Donald Trump left office, he and some members of his team and his administration decided that they were going to take a few boxes. There were talks about there being 15 boxes of classified documents that the president had taken from the White House. And as a result of that, he wasn't planning to just give it back up, that he was actually looking. It took them a matter of months to try to get those documents from him. And so at this point, the FBI was called in. The Justice Department had been called in, and people are upset, mainly the Republicans. There have been a number of Republicans that have gotten to the defense of Donald Trump. First, let me share with you a little bit more about the details about this as it's being reported, Keenan, and if we can post that first quote. Let me just share with you what was said about this whole scenario, how the search, according to multiple people familiar with the investigation, it really appeared to be focused on material that Mr. Trump had brought with him to Mar-a-Lago, his private club and residence, when he left the White House. Now, those boxes contained many pages of classified documents, according to a person familiar with the content, according to CNN. Now, the other thing that was determined is that Mr. Trump delayed returning 15 boxes of material requested by officials with the National Archives for many months, folks, only doing so when there became a threat of action to retrieve them. The case was referred to the Justice Department by the archives early this year. So, are we really surprised that the FBI was brought in? Well, apparently, This is a political move. Some people call it an unprecedented raid. The president, we went as far as to even describe it being akin to Watergate. Watergate, folks. When they broke into the offices of a political party to try to steal secrets and try to get information, that this is akin to Watergate. Okay, Mr. Former President. So let's talk a little bit about the scenario of this situation. And then, of course, I'm going to share with you what some Republicans are doing now and how they vow to take action against the Justice Department. Folks, this is disturbing, to say the least. Very, very disturbing. Let's bring in our culture crew that we have here today with us. We are joined by Lise Winnie, host of Millennial Anonymous podcast. And then we are also joined joined by Iman Heath, who is an activist, and she is an activist and an entrepreneur. Activist and entrepreneur, excuse me. All right, Iman, Lise, thank you so much for joining us. Well, we got Lise with us. Lise, thank you so much for joining us. Lise, first and foremost, don't be mad that I'm out here in sunny Southern California right now. Don't be mad, Lise.
I was a little upset, but I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide. You're getting all the beautiful sun.
Los Angeles is a beautiful place.
Yes, it is. That I will say.
So Lise, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with your favorite president.
You gotta stop that. You can't get that trend in. We cannot have that trend. No.
But I'm concerned. First, let's talk about this. The former president said that this is like Watergate.
Mm-hmm. Maybe on the other side, because he's the one that took the document.
I didn't get that at all. I did not get that at all. Here's the thing. The president has been saying, well, the National Archives has been saying, Mr. President, you need to give up these documents. Mm-hmm. He's been pussyfooting around, right, with getting these documents over to the National Archive. Then when the FBI comes busting up in your place, you get all surprised and shocked. Right. Talking about, oh my gosh, they even broke open a safe. This is crazy.
I don't think he knows what an FBI raid is, because they have access to do that. Like, that's part of their job.
First thing, it's not a good look for a former president to have his residence raided.
No.
Right? Mm-hmm. Second thing, it's not a good look for a former president to not follow the law either of passing over these documents, right? That's the other thing. And then third, it's just not a good look when you are trying to create a political situation to help your campaign bid for the presidency of the United States. There's just so many wrong things about this. What's your take?
Yeah, and I think that we haven't seen anything. This is unprecedented. We've never had a president that could potentially be arrested or locked up. I think the last time you could probably say that is Ulysses S. Grant, back when he was speeding in a horse and buggy in like 1872. So to actually have a president that could be convicted, because at some point I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think we would see this. I did not think we would actually see him be raided. And the fact that they are, I know a lot of Republicans are upset about that, which we'll talk about, I guess, a little bit more later on in the show. But the crazy part is, in order for Merrick Garland to even take it that far, do you know the amount of evidence that he must have in order to get this FBI raid for those 15 boxes of documents that are missing, not to mention the ones that may have gone down the toilet? There's so many things that we need to find out about what's going on with Donald Trump. He's going to be sitting down for a deposition about his dealings with the Trump organization. There are so many things wrong with this. And the fact that he could potentially still be on the ballot in 2024, this could potentially benefit him in 2024, is a scary place that we live right now in the U.S.
So it is scary. And I think that, to the other point, the fact that it just doesn't connect the dots, it does not make sense for me, right? Mm-hmm. That you would have the audacity to get upset for a violation that you committed. So you get upset. You get upset when you have to suffer the consequences. Why didn't you just follow the instruction? Why didn't you just follow the law? Like it's very hard for this guy to follow the law.
It is, but that's, I mean, he was there on January 6th. It's like, oh, go make sure that you go get Mike Pence. And then they go get Mike Pence. Oh, I didn't realize they would go get Mike Pence. Like, I don't understand the lack of accountability Trump has. And I think it's because if you look at his life, he's never been held accountable for anything. For the first time ever, we might actually see his net worth, which I think scares him, not to mention this raid with all the tweets. This is terrifying to him. But when you're seeing that this deposition is coming out in New York, and we might actually be able to see how much he makes, and he may not be the billionaire we think he is, or he may get in trouble for tax evade. Like, there's so much going on. But this is his history. He's never been accountable for anything. And now he is. So I'm shocked.
He has to be accountable. So speaking of the tax situation, for those who don't know, there was a federal appeals court that said that the president, that the House of Representatives has the right to obtain the taxes of Donald Trump. That was just announced as well earlier today. So to speak to that point that you just made, Lise, like he's got a lot of things cooking, right?
All sides.
and so when we look at that situation, his guy Mike Pompeo, who's the Secretary of State, he's talking to the January 6th committee. That's happening today. His house has got raided. His taxes are going to be accessible, right? Now let's talk about the fact that he got a number of Republicans in this country, leading Republicans. And I hope, you know what? I know that this is Black Star, and I know we go hard on Republicans, but I really want Republicans to just think through this. Just think through this. Just think through this. For real talk. I mean, all jokes aside, this is just pure, just not logical to me. And I'm, I try to really think through things from all different sides, Lee. But just think through this. You're coming to the defense of a man that's destroying your party. And the crazy part about it, that this happened not in New York or Jersey where Trump is right now. It happened in Florida, where the governor, Ron DeSantis, is the next golden boy of the GOP conservative movement, right? So Trump, I mean, it's like this guy still has some sense of power. But let's talk about the fact that you got Republicans who are still holding on. Mike McCarthy, let me share it with Keena. Let's show folks what Mike McCarthy had to say earlier today about this whole raid. This thing is crazy. House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy told Attorney General Merrick Garland to, quote, preserve your documents and clear your calendar, warning of an oversight probe when Republicans take back the chamber in the midterm election. The Department of Justice has reached an intolerable state of weaponized politicization. What are you talking about? Yeah. Now you're defending this man who violated the law. Okay, January 6th, it's still fuzzy. It's hard to pin it directly on him. But this is something he directly did. And instead of taking the approach or the stance of, you know what, I can't stand with this guy because he's just breaking laws left and right, you're going after the Department of Justice after months. Now, this wasn't like the National Archives called the Department of Justice like Trump did his last week. The archives reached the DOJ today, and this was months.
Right.
And you talking about going to war. Or you talking about going to war with your own Department of Justice. This is absolute insanity, Lise. I can't wrap my mind around it. It's hard for me to even have a conversation about, what why Trump has this influence and power over this party when he is the liability. Holding this party back. Just one of them, not many. You got Kevin McCarthy is another one. You got a whole lot of them. But the point is, He's one of the
Margaret
big
Taylor
ones.
Greene, and it's a bunch of them. But I will say this, that the reason why I think Trump still has a stronghold on the Republican Party, because he speaks to the people. The Republican Party don't speak to their people in the way that Trump can. Because when you look at who they are, because mostly their policies impact the wealthy, but they do have a huge amount of, especially white male working class or lower class voters who they can't speak to. Trump can. So they need him in order to be able to stay in power. When you hear people like Laura Ingraham, who is on Fox News, saying things like, oh, wait till we take back power, we're going to go after the United States military and all of this, it's crazy to hear, but you know what they're doing. They're trying to undermine this. If you can start to kind of like switch the burden of proof, now people are like, I wonder if this is what this is. Because I've seen articles coming out saying that this is a political move by Merrick Garland and Joe Biden. I've heard people saying that Joe Biden is doing this. So if this is what they're trying to do, if they can push the narrative that this is the Democrats going after Republicans and specifically Trump, they actually might be able to benefit. The scary part about this is that they could be in a win if, for whatever reason, I'm not saying, I do not believe that they would have jumped the gun a little too early with this probe investigation. But if this comes of nothing, the Democrats are in trouble. At that point, Donald Trump will be the Republican presidential nominee for 2024. They have
That would be insanity.
On a
and let me tell you why. Because Ron DeSantis, again, governor of Florida, he's already kind of been chosen, right? A lot of people are looking at him. Rupert Murdoch, with his media empire, they have moved on from Trump. I have been reading reports saying that his sons moved on from Trump. But this is absolutely insane. This is insane. And this is supposed to be the party that keeps America together. This is supposed to be the party of law, rule of law, they say, right? Law and order, all this. And it's like, you guys are doing everything that is antithetical to what you say you believe in. Everything.
Did you see them jumping on the building like fat Spider-Man? Come on, party of rule and law. Like, really, that went out the window in 2020.
Look, let me tell you, this is insane. And here's the thing. Here's what I'm seeing, folks. So tell me if y'all seeing the same thing. I'm seeing a situation that is setting up a civil war situation. And and I'm not saying this to be funny, to just get likes. And no, I'm really seeing something, because now it's like, even if you infuse any circumstance related to Trump or the GOP with any level of truth, it still won't resonate. It still won't land. Because it's the logic is just not there. Just the simple fact of, okay, this man is, he committed a violation of the White House. Y'all still like, nah, but y'all are wrong for checking him on it. It's like, wow. So you mean to tell me anybody can just do whatever they want? So if you open that door, to the GOP, if you open that door, don't get mad. When Black folks, when the Latino folks, when the LGBTQ folks, when minorities and voices who have been silenced as a result of all of the injustices of this system, when we start to say enough is enough, don't bring that rule of law shit to us.
Right. Yeah.
Because we ain't trying to hear it. Don't talk about following the Constitution with us. Because we're not trying to hear it. Because you making yourself, you shooting yourself in the foot. This is beyond an election for me. Honestly, Lee, this thing is bigger than the election. If the Republicans win in this year, or if they don't win, it don't mean that the country ain't going into a destructive path. Okay, if they win, we already know what's going to happen. If they don't win, then they're going to get so pissed off, Lise, what they going to do? Sabotage?
True.
Disrupt?
True.
They're going to say the elections were a lie?
Well, they already are saying that. They
and ain't nobody, and look, ain't nobody, and you going, and what you going to do? So Trump going to rise from that? Y'all going to let that man take y'all down like that? Please. All right, let me get to a couple of comments real quick. Because people are just upset. Check this out. Okay, Penny Jarman, Penny, thank you so much for checking in, Penny. You said nothing surprises me these days. This the sign of the times. It's not like Watergate at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Well,
the only one that's committing a violation is Trump, not the DOJ.
That's why it's not it, because technically he would be Nixon. He is Nixon in the Watergate.
He's Nixon.
And for whatever reason, he does not see that. But I think also Republicans in the end realized that this was a mistake. They held him Richard Nixon accountable. And I do not know if we are there yet. I think that there's a few people that would hold him accountable, but there's very, very few Republicans that are going to stand alone. Like there's very, very few. So I don't know what this looks like in the end. If he actually does get convicted of something, what does that look like in this?
That's crazy. Janelle, you checked in. Good to hear from you, Janelle. Thank you again, Penny. Janelle, you say they've been asking for those documents since May 2021. They've been asking for those documents for a long damn time, Janelle.
Yeah,
you know it and I know it.
It's about damn time.
It's about damn. I'm going Lizzo on them. It's about damn time.
Yeah.
Don't cry these crocodile tears now. Appreciate you, Janelle. Always good to hear from you, sis. Allison, you checked in. I love to check in with our new watchers. Allison, you said he is still shouting executive privilege, even though he's no longer in the Oval Office. Right. This dude do not know. He do not know how his office works. It's obvious. It is obvious. Yeah. You don't keep getting executive privilege when you're a private citizen.
Yeah, but he didn't know where the White House was anyway. He thought it was in Mar-a-Lago. So maybe that's why he's thinking that now.
Man, that's like Obama. Imagine if President Obama just started screaming executive privilege on some stuff. People would blast him. People would be like, he's supposed to be a lawyer? He's supposed to have studied the law? The Constitution? He don't know that.
He couldn't do that.
But we let this thing slide with this joker. Nisa, 1971. Nisa, good to hear from you, sis. You say he thinks he's beyond the law and should never be questioned. This is the standard mode of operation of white men in the United States. That's the unfortunate part. That's the unfortunate part. This is the meritocracy at its worst. And probably this is the example of meritocracy and elitism. This is the greatest example of a meritocracy and elitism and white man privilege. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we got to call it for what it is in order for us to get past it. Thank you, Nisa. Janae, you said, let this be a lesson. When you don't parent well, the kids growing up feeling entitled. We just hope they don't run for president. Right. Right. Somebody does. Look, hey, Lise, you and I both got children. Yeah. Discipline them jokers now.
Right. Yeah, you're not embarrassing me. I'm sorry.
Not embarrassing me when you grow older and you don't know how to take disappointment or take a loss, or you don't like to be challenged. Discipline them now. Taylor, you said, do they serve some kind of Kool-Aid type of drink in the Republican break room? Make it make sense. Right.
Yeah, right. They drinking that Kool-Aid.
I'm drinking. Look. The crazy part is, I can't get back to this. You defending a man that don't give a damn about you.
Right. That part.
He will throw you under the bus.
That part. That part. Quick.
He will throw you under the bus. Seriously, we know that's how he moves. Quick, he will throw you under the bus. And y'all coming to his defense. Y'all talking about that this is y'all going, y'all want to wage war against your government for a man who only thinks about himself. The Republican Party, the leaders, have absolutely gone insane.
They have. And that's why we
absolutely can't. Janae, you said, can we laugh all in together now? The same idiot who was big mad at HRC is now doing what he accused HRC of doing. So can we all say lock him up? Yeah, she's talking about Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Y'all talking about the emails things. And look, I don't want to get back and forth on that thing either, Lise, but the point is, you violating.
Right.
And look, let's not act like the January 6th situation just because the hearings are over, like it's all well and good. You're responsible, sir.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely responsible. And with Hillary Clinton, all we heard from Republicans was Benghazi, emails, and email server. That's all we heard. So it's amazing that this party now is like completely oblivious to things that are going on in their own party. And they should have been afraid when he started this back when he was running in 2016 against Hillary, when he said that he wouldn't accept anything but a win. Anyone who says that has to strike fear in your heart if he's saying that I will not accept the results if I don't win. And I don't know why Republicans didn't go, wait a minute, maybe this isn't the person we want to support. So I don't know. I am confused.
If you are a Black Republican, if you're a white Republican, I feel sorry. Seriously. And then this is all jokes aside, man. Like this is not good. This is not good, Lise. You know what I'm saying? When you really study the history of this country, and that's why when we talk about Trump, it's not even funny, because I mean we might be like ha ha, but the thing that I always remember, this is real life. This ain't a movie. This is not good.
Right.
We got people's hopes and dreams. We got people who really want the best for their country, want the best for their families. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in a real cluster. This is not good.
Yeah. People's safety. And
you know what I'm saying? People's livelihood, people's money, people's, I mean, you know, the future of our country. Like, we talk about that before. I read a piece very quickly. I read a piece, and I'm going to talk about this later on. Not today. But there's a term that I saw that I thought that this was good. It's called long-termism. And the idea of long-termism is when you are thinking about the long-term, the impact that you do today on future people, on the future of the people. And when you look at the country and where we are, and you start to really apply this idea of long-termism, like what I do today matters because of who's coming behind me tomorrow, whether it's your children or somebody else's children. That's how we have to start thinking. And there is a moral duty and responsibility that we have to ensure that the future is better and brighter for those who are coming, the unborn people.
All right.
But you mean to tell me that the way things are, y'all so wrapped up, and this is the state of our leadership in this country. They are so wrapped up in the moment and in the present. They are so wrapped up in a power grab. They're so wrapped up in their anger and their bitterness. They don't have the view to think about the future and the future of this country. You're destroying the country while at the same time you spit in our faces and you lie. And you say that you are all for America. You would rather destroy America to save your own ass than to do something for the people. And guess what? That's not going to hold. That's not going to hold. That's that. Lisa, I'm telling you, it gets me pissed off because people are talking about we could just vote them out. No, this is a cancer. This is a real cancer in our country. And it's not the cancer of not us voting. The cancer is us not thinking about the future and only worrying about ourselves right now.
Yeah. Trump is number one. He's the first president like him, not the last. He is the first. We will see presidential nominee Marjorie Taylor Greene at some point. Like, it's coming. It just has not arrived yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, folks, we got to have another conversation. Look, stay with us. We got a lot to get to as we continue the discussions. Make sure y'all stay tuned and join us for the discussions on all of our social media platforms. And most importantly, continue to support us at blackstarnetwork.com. Stay tuned. When we move forward, more conversation right here on The Culture, here on the Black Star Network. We'll be back.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Pull up a chair. Take your seat. Take your seat. The black. With me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
All right, folks, welcome back to the culture here on the Black Star Network. As you see, I am outside today as we're just doing a lot of moving around here. So I thought, hey, let's do the show from outside. I see my big brother Roland. He does from so many different places. I was like, let me follow in his footsteps a little bit out here in beautiful Los Angeles, California. But folks, look, we are having a conversation. I wanted to discuss something else now, talking from national politics to something that's statewide that we're seeing now. We all know that this is the time of year where folks across the country are getting ready to go back to school. There's a lot of trepidation about what is going to happen in this year's school year, considering everything still with COVID, now with monkeypox. But more importantly, folks are getting prepared. School districts across the country are getting prepared to look at where we are in two areas. One is the national teacher shortage. We've had a conversation about that. But then the other part of it is school safety. And in light of all of the mass shootings that we've had across this country, and the one of the most hateful mass shootings, the one that we saw in Uvalde, Texas, just a few months ago, there is great concern about the safety and preservation of students in the schools. And so now the conversation about arming teachers has resurfaced, folks. And now it looks like one state is already moving forward. North Carolina, the sheriff down there in North Carolina is stocking schools with AR-15s. Folks, I'm not even making this up. AR-15s, the sheriff down in North Carolina, and I want to pull up I want to share with you what the sheriff had to say in this one county. But he has gone to 6 schools and dropped AR-15s right at the schools, placed them in a safe, and he has ensured both the staff, the teachers, the administrators, the community, and the media that folks are trained to know how to use the AR-15s that's located in their school. Let me share with you what the sheriff had to say. Check this out, Keenan. Let's post that one. Spurred by the elementary school shooting in Uvalde that left 19 children and 2 teachers dead in May, school officials in Madison County Sheriff Buddy Harwood have placed one of the semi-automatic rifles in each of the county's 6 schools. Each of the guns will be locked inside of a safe, according to the Sheriff Harwood. He said, quote, "Those officers were in that building for so long, and that suspect was able to infiltrate that building and injure and kill so many kids." He told the Asheville Citizen-Times, he said, "I just want to make sure my deputies are prepared in the event that happens." Wow. Wow. Sheriff Harwood has decided to take matters in his own hands. And he said, bump the national conversation, bump the concerns that teachers have about having a gun in the school, bump the fact that you might have a student that may get access to that gun, bump the fact that, that even though you have training, it still requires more training, that once a situation really does happen, person's human instinct, their nerves, and all of that can kick in a moment of fear. All of that. Bump all of that. Let's put an AR-15 in a school, put it in a safe, and make sure that we protect our children. Now, on one end, here's the thing, and I want to bring back my culture crew. We've now been joined by Iman Heath, who is an entrepreneur and an activist, and we have been talking to Lise Winnie, who is the host of Millennials Anonymous podcast. Ladies, Iman, good to see you again, sis. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so here's the thing. On one end, I get where the sheriff is coming from. I think he makes a valid point, right? Like, The way, I mean, we all know about the great fumble of Uvalde. We know that 350 plus officers, 19 children were still killed by the hands of one man, even though you got 350 plus officers on the scene. We understand that should never ever happen again. I'm totally with you there, sure. Where I'm stopping the car at, Iman, where I'm pumping the brakes a little bit is you dropping a semi-automatic weapon in a school, man.
I disagree. I think it's this is a be damned if you do, be damned if you don't situation. But I think it's better to be proactive than to be reactive. Even though this will require more training, I would rather them be prepared for that situation than, as we saw, police waiting outside until they feel better, or I looked at it as things died down. How can you do that when you have a hostile situation like that? But I think it's much better. But I do think this should require teachers to take a psych test just to see where that mental health is, because on the opposite end of this, even though it is there to keep students safe or help in that situation if it happens, you do have these manic teachers who, if they get to a certain point, they may lose it and snap. And next thing you know, they have the AR-15, they're used as a weapon against the children or other teachers. You don't know where people's mental health is these days. So I think it's a hard scale to weigh, but I would rather have them in the school rather than not.
All right, so why not put them in a place like if a person is coming into a school like we saw with Ramirez down in Uvalde. He came into the school. It only took him a matter of minutes to do the damage that he did, right? It wasn't a long time. So I'm thinking, even if the gun is this AR-15 is in the main office, to have the instinct to run to the office, to risk moving around when you have an active shooter on campus, to run to the office, unlock the safe, go through the whole process, load up the gun. Now you going after him. Are you going after this active shooter? Are you like the plan seemed patchwork to me.
So what would be, there's no other solution than to have officers there on the outside. We've seen that. We've seen them on the outside do a damn thing.
But every officer, and that would be my solution. If my solution is if teachers are running to get the gun, it's a chaotic situation, right? And my solution is, if you have in Baltimore, we had resource officers, individuals, they were like school police, right? But a little bit more tampered down, but they had the certain skills to deal with things. My point is, you have people who work on these school sites that can handle a situation like that, right? Because the teachers, you can't put that on the teacher. I mean, that's just one, it's not fair. And two, they're not trained for that type of stuff.
I agree. I think that teachers do too much. We have our teachers
too much
being social workers. Now they have to also be nutritionists to make sure that children who are nut free and all, like, we put way too much on our teachers. And honestly, I think even having the gun there, the issue with Uvalde wasn't the lack of firepower. It was the fact that you had officers on the scene who were too afraid to do their job. And then they had leadership who were not trained properly to get them there and do what they needed to do in an effective, strategic manner. That was the problem. So it's not the lack of weaponry. It's not the lack of officers. All of those things would not have helped Uvalde because they were all there. They had shields and they stayed there until they got the call from their superior to go in. It was a bad decision and a bad call. I will say with schools, what they need to do is, of course, make those schools more secure, because I think he got in through an unlocked door. But we also need to not say that a good guy with a gun is going to stop a bad guy with a gun, because that is just not true. Now we have more guns, more weapons in schools, and I don't know if I feel comfortable with that.
I don't feel comfortable with that. To be honest with you. I mean, this is 6 schools, right? So this is a small county, right? So this is 6 schools, but it's just still the fact that you don't have the proper training for this. You don't have a situation where a teacher, I mean, it's to your point, Lisa, it's just too much. It's too much. And there was an op-ed that I read, saw that in the New York Times, where a teacher was saying that she did not want to, I mean, given COVID, given everything that we already dealing with, the last thing she wants to do is have a gun near the students and her workplace. Right. Like teach, like if, and I think to your point, Iman, you were saying, well, what else can be done? Well, teach, go through the drill, go through the practice. If an active shooter comes on the school site, what do? Lock the door, get underneath the desk, don't say anything, stay quiet, listen to one person. Put those type of policies and procedures in place versus, hey, man, try to be a superhero, try to be a member of SWAT, try to be a member of some tactical team and arm yourself. And then what?
I definitely agree it shouldn't be a responsibility on teachers. You're right. But the article said it would be for the resource officers to use. So I definitely agree. Teachers already have too much to do. You shouldn't add that to their plate, and then that's more training. They already don't get paid enough. I completely understand. But for resource officers, I think that would be a better or helpful tool just in case of those situations. I don't have children, so I can't put a personal attachment to it, but I would think if I did have them, I would much rather the officers on the inside have the right weapons to be able to defeat it. Like Lee said, a good guy is not going to always essentially stop the bad guy. You're absolutely right. However, I would much rather them be prepared to, just in case it happens, rather than, damn, I wish we would have let them have those AR-15s. Damn, I wish we would have let them have a Glock. No, let's be proactive rather than remorse after the situation happens. Or what
I wonder. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
I agree with that. We need to be proactive. We have red flag laws. He shouldn't have ever had that gun in the first place. If they would have had those rules in place, he wouldn't have gotten them. The same thing with Buffalo. They had red flag laws in New York and they did not use them. We have all of these things in place that will stop people who should not have guns, who are mentally unstable, from accessing them. But yet they are able to go through these loopholes and get these weapons anyway. I agree that if you have officers in the school, it will make you feel safer, or it could even lead to some levels of safety. But there's some issues that also go along with that, and having additional officers on the scene, especially in low-income African-American communities, which we have seen. So it doesn't always come out better. And then don't officers have rifles in their cars? Like, can we keep them?
I thought they had handguns too.
And you don't need an AR-15 in order to kill a subject.
Wait a minute, go ahead, Iman, you on mute.
Per usual. Some officers, I do know, they do keep, they are able to keep their weapon on them, but most times from my research, they have their own office. They have to keep the ammunition in one area, just like you would if you at home and had a firearm. You can't have it in the same, it can't be inside of the gun unless it's actual police officer. Here in Baltimore County, Baltimore City police officer. You can't have ammunition out of the gun. So it wouldn't make sense to me. Oh, it's active shooter. Let me run outside real quick, go to my car, get my rifle, then run back in and see where the situation at. To me, that just doesn't logically make sense. Now, when it comes to gun laws, and like we've said before, it's all about the money. I do not see the government in no type of way add more stipulations to who can have a gun, and who can't. I just don't see it happening because of the money that guns bring in. It's not going to happen. I don't see it happening no time soon.
It may not happen. It may not happen. And you know what? The way that these Republicans are thinking, shit.
Hell,
look. Let's not hold our breath for any common sense legislation to come down the pipe anytime soon around guns. I'm just not. Mm-hmm. If we waiting on them to do it, that's not going to happen.
Well, that's not going to happen. Gun legislation passed or this year. But I think that what we need to do is have more open conversations about this, about how and the why, because more than just having people that can, have more weaponry. And I'm not saying that it's not the solution. My thing is that we got to this point, and there were people in a lot of these situations with these mass shooters that there were flags there. where people were like, oh, I should have said something. Oh, yeah, he did say that. His nickname, the Uvalde shooter's nickname was school shooter. Like, this is not okay. That is his nickname at his job that he had at the fast food restaurant. If we know these things are going on,
that's one hell of a flag, Lise. Lord have mercy. That's one hell of a flag. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow.
They called a dude school shooter, and then you wonder why he lived up to his name.
Wow.
I don't understand. There were so many different flags that were there that we just ignored. Same thing in
You know why, Lise? Hey, Lise, real quick. You know why? Because we don't tend to believe that people can be evil.
How the DC
we don't take people. We don't take people on face value.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If somebody, who was it, Dr. Maya Angelou? If somebody show you who they are, believe them. Isn't that the ones she want to attribute it to that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now in this day and time, we don't have the liberty.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the space to just say, to allow people to talk the way they talk and do it the way they do and not think this person is a little off.
Right.
This person believes that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, all of it, because now everybody is quote unquote so authentic and so real. Okay, you so authentic and so real, you're a problem. If I'm calling you school shooter, right, because you are showing me tendencies, characteristics. You have some, you know, the things that you talk about, the way that you present yourself, how you engage with people. You know, I mean, we and I'm not saying that you can't think the best of people. I'm not saying that at all. But this is 2022. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, as much it is the actions of other people that has brought this type of misery and pain and trauma, it is our own denial about a situation.
I think
we just don't want to believe that the people are the way they are. We just like, man, no, he's a good kid. Like my wife worked in the mental health and educational space, and she said that whole he's a good kid is always attributed to young white men, but when it gets to us, you know, we get characterized a different way. But it is young white men that are shooting up the place. And this is nothing funny. This is actual fact. And so it's like, we're living in a time where if you hear people talking about certain things, laughing about it, you talk about, hey man, there was a mass shooting. You're like, man, for real? What kind of gun did he have? Oh, for real? I would have used this. Whoa. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
They're not showing no empathy. I mean, it's just, we are in a state of denial about who people are these days.
I agree with that. I agree. And I think he was of Latin descent, though.
Latin descent, right. And I'm just saying, right. And you don't have that many Latino mass shooters.
That is true.
You just don't have it. But see, goes to show you that it's not about color. It's not about race. It's about the thinking of a person.
Right.
The poisonous thinking of a person can get into that. It can affect any one of us. You know, we talked about the DC shooter, the DC sniper. He's a black man, mass shooter.
He had sniper on his t-shirt.
He's a mass shooter. Unfortunately, he got my last name. Don't do well for me on that side, but he's a mass shooter.
Yeah. But I think we have an issue just with gun culture in this country, period. And I think that we have way too many guns here. I don't know what the solution will be because America wants their guns. They're not going to let their guns go. And we have to live with the fact that we're just going to have guns here. But we do need to at least try to change the culture. I think that putting guns everywhere, it almost normalizes it. I'm not saying that, again, like that's not the solution to do that. I'm not a strategic crisis management person for the school system. But what I'm saying is I feel like it normalizes the guns and seeing it. The kids see you have, it's like a militarization of kids. You see people walking around with guns. You see police officers. It's like, oh, this is normal. Oh, everybody should have a gun. And I'm like, we shouldn't live in a society or culture where everyone needs a gun.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Let me go to we get a couple of thoughts from our viewers as folks are checking in to talk about this. Royna, you checked in and said it doesn't matter how many guns you have if you're scared to fire the gun. Uvalde, anyone? Yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point. Rashida, you checked in and you said that means these teachers will be gunning for our Black children because they're scared of our children. I hope not. Now, this is probably, I don't know, I mean, for lack of a better term, Lisa and Iman, this is the school's AR-15. No, so this is not, and again, this goes to the resource officer, so this is not like anybody can get it, but it's the conversation of having guns in the classroom gets closer and closer to possibly becoming a reality. If you bring in an AR-15 and put it in the main office, then it's only a matter of time then people are going to try to justify taking that AR-15 and bringing it into the classroom. Tiana, you said, who the hell thought this was a good idea? When you're afraid, Tiana, when you're afraid, you're not thinking through stuff. And I get that. But when you're afraid, you just react. You know what I'm saying? Your approach is reactive. Man coming in here shooting at people, let's put a gun in the school so that y'all can shoot back. Instead of locking the doors, instead of having a check-in procedure, instead of having a resource officer on campus, you know what I'm saying? Instead of having a better police department, we just throw the gun in the school. Mike, thank you so much, Tiana, for checking in. Mike, you checked in and you said special weapons and tactics are there for a reason in law enforcement. If they can't solve the issue, why would a teacher? I don't know, Iman. I don't know why a teacher would solve that issue.
It's not going to a teacher yet again. It's going to a
resource officer. But I'm just saying the conversation is getting closer to having teachers for teachers to be armed. It's getting a little closer.
Yeah, it is. It is a possible conversation, but I don't agree that teachers should be held responsible because, again, like we've already said, they have too much on their plate already.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Brown, you checked in. You said, how about metal detectors in every entrance of all schools and only 2 entrances open available during school hours with 2 officers on duty at every school in America?
Going to a Baltimore City school, high school, there were metal detectors. There were locked doors. There was still a way to get out and get in. If you wanted to go walk to Burger King on your lunch break or walk to the plaza on your lunch, you could do that. So they have that in place. What's next? They've done that. What's next? We had officers in the front of the school with the wands checking you as well after you already walked past the metal detectors. Now
I got a problem with metal detectors.
Oh, you do?
Hold on, Farajii. So then you have a problem with putting guns in the school. You got a problem with metal detectors.
No, here's the thing. Here's why I'm saying that. Here's the thing. I know you. Wait a minute. Hold on, yo. The only reason I have a problem. The only reason I have a problem is because, and I'm saying, that's why I say we got to have a conversation. So look, we're tossing out ideas here. The only reason I think I have a problem with that is because I don't want to create an environment where my son or my daughter feels like they're going into a jail and not to school, right? Like there is something about when you, quote unquote, prepare yourself for the worst to happen and how that creates an energy for the worst to happen.
I can agree. Going from,
you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. So I'm gonna say, let me just say this with this remark. Like, I don't know how do you balance the two. Like I say, maybe you get more resource officers, and resource officers are fine. But there's, like, for example, here's what I think we need to look at. My son went to a private school. Mm-hmm. I hardly saw a police officer at the private school. Open air. May God, and I hope nothing ever happens to the students at the school, right? Open air. There's something in the thinking. Because guess what? The private schools are predominantly white private school, right? Well, in a good area, right? Mm-hmm. It's just something that people just don't think. I'm gonna run up in this predominantly white private school, especially if you if you're a black person. You just don't. It's like something ingrained in us. We're not running up in white neighborhoods and white schools to commit murder. We're just not doing it. We're just not doing it. And I'm not, and this is not a joke. I'm being very serious that the conditioning of us is that we just don't do that. We know in Baltimore, there are literally streets, and I'm sure they're like this in cities across this country. There are literally streets where you might have one street that divides the neighborhood. Oh, this is the white neighborhood. This is the black neighborhood. All this crime and madness is happening on the black neighborhood. But no, it's like, it's ingrained in us. You cross this street, bruh.
You can see the redlining in places like Baltimore and Philly. You can see
Philly, Chicago and Detroit. When you cross the tracks, that whole cross the tracks mentality, we're so conditioned that we just don't like the thought of it. It scares us. Like, man, I ain't running up in this neighborhood and doing no madness like that. Man, they'll shoot you and kill you, but you do it in your own black neighborhood.
I think that's also the thing, because I think the way that we talk about school shootings is different. If it happens in a predominantly black school in an area that is higher crime, we just say somebody got shot. We don't do it the same way you would in a school that has in a better community or a lower crime community. We don't talk about it that way. It's not even like a big deal. It's just like somebody got shot and we just move on. So it's all the way that we view our schools and we view our students and the people in those communities. I think that's part of it as well.
Huge part of it. Huge part. I want to get one more. Let me get one more in. Man H, you said, let me see, make sure we got this. Man H, you talked about, okay. And them school resource officers were stereotyping our kids. Come on, y'all. You seen all them videos of cops overdoing things to our kids. Okay. So let me give that. Let me pose that to my dynamic panel. If the school resource officers don't handle our children right as it is right now, Iman, how do we reconcile that?
That's a great question. And the only way to do that, I would think logically, to have maybe not parents of the students, but maybe volunteers help come in to ease that barrier, to not make it feel like I've seen a school, I don't remember where it is, but it's like black men come in to volunteer. They are parents, students.
I've seen that.
Come in to help the children, make sure they get to class and things like that, blah, blah, blah. Show great examples of what to do as far as how to conduct yourself in school. Other than that, I don't know. I have a different experience with resource officer. I don't have the same experience. If I got put out of class, he'd tell me, go sit down in the office until it's time for you to go to lunch. That was my experience. I didn't witness him mishandling us as brown children, but it does happen. So it's a double-edged sword. Be damned if you do, be damned if you don't. But it's other than volunteer, what else can we do?
And I think that with the point that you're making as we wrap up, the point is, and I think you're making an excellent point. If black men, this is where the community has to step in, right, Lise? Like if black women say, all right, I'm gonna go up to the school and check and trust and believe. Let's not act like we don't know which schools have had a history of issues, right? Like a history of shootings, fights, whatever, just a history of issues. Black men, we should, in our respective cities, I've seen this happen in Baltimore, I've seen this happen in other places. Black men say, you know what? We're gonna go up to the school and show a sign of strength. We're gonna change the energy up at that school, right? Black women coming up in there and do something. Like, let's not all put it on the resource officer, because a joker will think twice. A joker will think twice. You know what I'm saying? You have enough black men up there. No man, I don't care how big and bad. He ain't running up in the school now. What you doing? Hey, what you doing? We gotta see the power of our own self. Say it again, Lee. Iman.
We gotta take responsibility. We do. We gotta take it into our own hands at this point.
Absolutely. All right, ladies, look, we're going to take a quick pause. Look, when we move forward, let's have more conversations. Look, I am just loving the discussions that we're having right now, and I appreciate all of you for checking in. So make sure y'all stay tuned. We got a lot more coming at you in the next hour of The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
All right, peace and welcome to the second hour of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for checking in. If you're just checking in with us on our blackstarnetwork.com or other platforms that we are streaming on, welcome to the show. Broadcasting from the sunny city of Los Angeles in Southern California. And we're continuing to have the conversations that are very, very important to you. Big shout out to the first hour. We talked about what's happening with President Trump and that raid from the FBI and the Department of Justice to look for those documents, classified documents. We talked a little bit about that. And we talked about the North Carolina sheriff who is arming 6 schools in North Carolina in a small county in North Carolina with AR-15s in preparation for for things that may happen in a school setting. So if you missed those 2 conversations, you can definitely check us out on the replay on our Black Star Network app. All right, for this part of the discussion, I wanted to have a conversation with my sister because Tuesdays, we always have these cultural discussions. And one of them was something that I saw as a result of everything that went along with Beyonce. Now, it's only been about I want to bring them back in. Lise Winnie, host of Millennials Anonymous podcast. Iman Heath, who is an activist and an entrepreneur. Ladies, it's only been, and I know Lise, it's only been a week or so since the Beehive, since Beyonce dropped Renaissance. It's only been a week.
Yeah. It hasn't been.
I feel like that album been out for years.
Right. Beyonce will do that to you though. Like she has
Beyonce would do, and all the drama, drama and controversy will do that to you. So it's been a week. And now, we know that everybody was loving the album. Then a bunch of people started coming out and saying, oh, she sampled this song. Some people were happy, some weren't. Khalees. And then she decided to make an unprecedented move, which was she changed some of the lyrics to not offend people. And she just took off some of the music that Khalees said that she owed her. That's a different conversation. Now the conversation comes up about fandom. Mm-hmm. This is what it means to be a fan. Like when you are a fan, how far do you cross the line? And so I wanted to have a cultural conversation with my 2 dynamic sisters about the toxicity of fandom, because we are in a very, very unique time when it comes to our adulation and love for our musical idols, for our celebrities. Like it's gone way deep. the two pieces, then came out of the Griot when they published this an op-ed to discuss this idea of fandom and has it gone too far. They looked at two powerful Black women in the industry. First, Beyonce, of course, with her Beehive. And then second, Nicki Minaj with her Barbs. Mm-hmm. Is that how you say it, Iman? Is it Barbs? That's her group? Mm-hmm. And what does Megan Thee Stallion have? Because now everybody got their own thing.
The hotties.
The hotties. Mm-hmm. Are you a hottie? Who Iman? Are you a hottie?
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm. That's Meg is the hot girl coach. Yes. Mm-hmm. Probably stat. Mm-hmm. I can't wait for you to review her album. I'm looking forward to it.
Iman, yo, you say yes, I am. Yes, I am.
That's my
hey, look, real quick. Hey, look. Speaking of Meg Thee Stallion, did you hear about Partisan, Fontaine, and The Rock?
Yeah.
The Rock said, "I will beat her chihuahua."
When it was asked, because he was on. If y'all don't know, y'all gotta see this clip from The Rock that was absolutely hilarious of him and Kevin Hart talking about their new movie Super Pets, which is a great movie. Took my son and daughter to see it. It's a funny movie. But they did a little press joint, and the question was asked, "Who would you want to be a pet for?" And The Rock came out with no ifs, ands, no buts about it. With the straightest of face. Now y'all know The Rock. Mm-hmm. The Rock is what The Rock is cooking. He was like, Meg Thee Stallion.
That was it. He didn't have to think about it at all.
And Kevin Hart busted laughing. Like Kevin Hart didn't even Kevin Hart probably was like, my wife. I'm gonna be a pet for my wife.
Hey, look, if Kevin knows what's best for him, that's the right answer, good brother. That's the right
from Baltimore. I'm gonna be a pet for my wife. But The Rock came out and told her boyfriend, Meg Thee Stallion, boyfriend, Partisan Fontaine, hip hop artist. He had a couple of words out of jest. He was just joking. He just had a couple of words when he saw the video. But I'm like, Partisan, party. You don't want what The Rock is cooking, bro. You just.
And he wasn't even saying it to be offensive, so it's like.
I know he wasn't. He wasn't. It was just that. The funny thing about it is, I did not know The Rock was checking for Meg Thee Stallion like that. When he was like, and then he said, well, what would you do as her pet? He said, that's between us two.
That's what he said.
It's like he thought about that. He's been thinking about it for months and years.
Right. Oh my God. I just thought that was funny. All right. So this whole idea of fandom, the toxicity of fandom, we are in a time, ladies, where people have gone so far for their fans. Check this look out. Stan culture is a crazy, toxic, and unforgiving world. And what the writer was basically saying, and Keenan, let's post a little bit of what she said. She said, fast forward 30 years. Now, the writer talked about her love for Michael Jackson and Madonna and Prince. And I grew up in that era. But she said, fast forward 30 years and fandom has changed completely, especially with the advent of the internet. Through the power of the internet and social media, fans have now built themselves into legions of rabid mobs that attack anyone who has even the slightest criticism of their favorite artist. We have reached a point where you can say something as innocuous as, I really like this new album except for song XXX. And the fans will attack you as if you murdered Tina Lawson on the streets. It's that crazy. The sister also wrote this. After all, no one is above critique, not even Beyonce. And to create a world where you are not allowed to give less than a glowing review to someone's favorite artist without fear of becoming a target sets a dangerous precedent. Lise, do you agree?
I do. That's why I'm bronze. That's why I say I got a bronze Beehive membership, because the platinum package comes with the crazy. No.
So there's a platinum membership package to be a part of the Beehive?
Yeah, it is.
It might be. And then you know what? It's not a platinum. Platinum is when you go hard. It's the yellow diamond package.
There you go.
With the canary package, you will drink Beyonce's bathwater.
What's
And
his
then
name?
sell it.
Kevin Gates said he would. So I guess he got that package. He got that. But I think that people have gone a little wonky. Like, I would never sit there and defend, as much as I love Beyonce. I've been rocking her since Destiny's Child days, and I'm old enough to know when she actually came out. But I'm not going to sit there and say that she can't do anything wrong. Even with this album, I said something last week. People came back at me and said, how dare you say? I was like, just because I don't think it's my favorite song doesn't mean it can't be yours. It doesn't mean it's not good. It's my opinion.
Right.
So I agree that we got some craziness going on now.
So Iman, there have been moments, and I don't remember all the moments, but there have been moments, and I think this is interesting. Beyonce never told people to go that hard for her. Not once has she said on her social media, hey, y'all, go after so-and-so. Not once. It's like people have taken this whole thing on their own. Like they think that this is what you're supposed to do. Whereas for Nicki Minaj, for example, Nicki Minaj will say, you need to go and holler at check so-and-so or talk to, or you need to jump on their page. And I think that's a big difference.
Beyonce doesn't talk. Like she doesn't talk. So we can start right there. She don't talk, Lee. She don't say nothing. She don't say a thing here. She don't have opinions about nothing. If she do, she real quiet about it. Nicki Minaj, I will say.
Hey, I just want to let y'all know you can find Iman's IG address.
I said what I said. So Beyonce is mute. She don't talk. Now Nicki Minaj, I think with Nicki Minaj, it's her I want to not pride, but like just her attitude of just I'm the head, be in charge, and I'm this, I'm that. I think that's why she rallies behind those type of behaviors from her barbs, because she wants to hold this mentality of, you can't F with me, you can't come with me. Because granted, when more female rappers started coming out, she wasn't at first so supportive of it. Let's not forget that. So, and she was surprising to me, open arms with Meg. That was one hell of a surprise to me. But she started having this attitude of, I'm untouchable. I'm Nicki Minaj. I paved the way for y'all. Now, granted, she did help. One, you can't take that away. She was the only female rapper for a while, besides Remy Ma. And she was a little on the shelf too. But her attitude behind it, I don't think Beyonce, even if she did speak about it, I don't feel like she would condone what the Beehive does sometimes when you attack and bully people. On top of that, in this day and age, you can have an opinion about nothing. I didn't know, I ain't trying to offend nobody. I didn't know spaz was an offensive word. Like, when they said Beyonce was offensive, she said spaz, and they don't care about the ableist culture or something like that.
Yeah.
I said, what the hell is that? Like, where the hell did that come from? Why are we mad about spazzing? It's just now, the sensitivity of everything. I'm probably going to be canceled as soon as we get off the I didn't even get started yet. I'm going to be canceled in a few.
I agree with you though, because that, of course, in the UK, I think that is the term that they use it. And how would she know? Like, Beyonce is not from here, but my issue is with Beyonce people, because listen here, Lizzo had a whole goddamn album that had this same thing. What y'all was like? No, we just don't worry about it. They ain't gonna skip that part. Like, you didn't know that?
Well, she changed her lyrics though.
She did, but I'm saying it was the same word. Like, Beyonce's people didn't
right.
What was y'all doing? Y'all dropped the ball on that. Like, that I didn't understand.
Right. So I think the fan culture has gotten to this extreme, and part of me wants to say, does it lead to a personality disorder? And I mean, even on a very fundamental level, because some people, and I wish that we were all more honest with each other, right? Like, what these artists, how they present themselves, how they dress. Well, I'm talking about for men and women, how they dress, how they present themselves to the world. influences us in some way, shape, or form. I remember when Lil Wayne, he's always been hot, but he was really, really hot when he dropped that album with Lollipop and
Mr. Carter.
yeah, I think so. So I saw a whole bunch of brothers wearing their locks just like Wayne, dressing like Wayne, right? When Jay-Z say he wears button-ups, everybody started to change their dress code. You know what I'm saying? They had the S dots on, they had the button up, they had the jeans. Like we act as if like we try to play tough. Like, man, these people don't influence me. But if you go to any quote unquote day party, Diddy been doing day parties since I was little, right? He's been doing day parties, all white parties. People are influenced by what they see. They're influenced by the culture. And I'm wondering, because it's intensified and emphasized so much because of social media, that will it lead to some type of disorder within our own personalities? Am I looking at it too deep, Lise?
I don't think you are. I think that some people could potentially go down that rabbit hole because they get so stuck on social media and this becomes their identity. But I do think in some ways, when you see some of these stan pages and people, they make money off of this. I think that's an element of this that we're not hitting into. There's money to be made as a Beyonce stan. There's money to be made as a Nicki Minaj or Rihanna stan. You make money off of that. If you can get a social media going, you get enough followers, you're going to make money. So I think that there's a bit of both. They need for people to be interested, so they're going to drum up all of this chaos. But then I think some people do get so involved where they feel like, you saw Eminem had the song Stan. I think that
that's where it came from. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people who actually will go that deep. But I think on a larger scale, I think it's more of being a part of a group than anything. People want to feel like they fit in. And this is a way.
Do you feel like the same? Do you have the same sentiment, Iman, that people just want to feel like they fit in? Like celebrity culture has gotten to this point where we all want, and I posted this on my Facebook page. Did get a lot of traction? I say everybody's popular, but nobody is famous.
That is very true. And I feel as though, like Lee said, is social media is some people's identity. If you are known to be that big bad bully who's gonna check everybody on Instagram, but if somebody that really is like that in real life come to check you, you get real quiet. You get exposed. But on Instagram, you big tough Tony. But when it's time to be tough Tony outside of logging into your Twitter, you're not that person. So I definitely think it's a psychological, I won't say issue, but concern to emulate this one, I guess, personality when that's not you in reality. And that's another problem. People don't get chin checked no more. People think they can say what they want, how they want through the internet, but no one can ever actually physically get to them. That's also the problem. Nobody's getting hit in their mouth no more, Farajii. People need to get hit in their mouth sometimes.
You know what? I picked up on a little pattern in your analysis often, and it often comes down to wanting to hit somebody in their mouth. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that little observation, but
I don't promote violence. I'm not saying violence is the answer. However, people have
Lisa's like, yup, she does want to hit somebody in the mouth pretty often.
People have gotten comfortable with being disrespectful and not knowing, or at least having just basic boundaries for other people. Don't say certain things. Don't have a certain tone when you say certain things. Just a level of respect is just being humans, but we don't have that. And people think they're who they aren't on social media.
Well, social media makes you desensitized to being human. You don't see a person because you can't feel the emotion. It becomes a computer screen, almost like a game. Like you don't realize that there's another person on the other side of the world or wherever this person is. And that's the scary part about social media and why people are so bold. Because like you said, Amon, you're not in somebody's face. No one can give you that direct reaction. Like, you make a face like, wait a minute, hold up now. Everybody knows that look when it was like, wait a minute now, it's about to go from 0 to 100 in here. You don't have that. There's no social cues anymore. And social media has done that. It has broken down the barriers of communication. And you need that in order to have a society that is respectful and has boundaries.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take a couple of comments from our viewers. Folks, you checked in. We're talking about stan culture being toxic. and crazy. We're talking about the toxicity of fandom. Being a fan has gone too far. Lana, you checked in. Lana, always good to hear you, sis. One of our strong supporters and loyal watchers. She said, that album, I've heard better from B, and I'm a fan. Okay, there it is. There it is. Lana, make sure that your account works at the end of the day. Appreciate you. The other side of wickedness, you checked in and said, look, some fans take it too far. They come for you as if you slept with their husband and emptied their bank account. Right.
They'll find out where you work at, put it on social media, go find out over there, you work at such and such. Like, how do you devote your life to being an officer, in a sense, or an attorney for a celebrity?
Right. Seriously, I don't get it, because these celebrities didn't, I mean, I'm sure that they love it, but they, at the same time, that has to be scary for them, because if somebody does something in their name, something crazy, violate somebody, offend somebody, physically hurt somebody in their name, like, oh, why did you beat the hell out of this woman? Because she said that she didn't like, plastic off the sofa. She ain't like track 4 off of Renaissance, and I had to check that. You'd be like, wow.
Right.
That's that. I mean, just for the artist to have that level of, I don't even know if it's love, because even we say it again, Iman.
That's more of a burden. Like to have that. If something was to happen and then it was in your name and you didn't promote it, you had nothing to do with it. That is one hell of a burden to have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Karina, good to hear from you, sis. You said all this drama thanks to social media. The tabloids back in the day were bad enough, but more of an effort was required to get that gossip. Now it's at the click of a button. And I think, at least to that point, to Karina's point, thank you, Karina, for bringing that up. I think to Karina's point, that's probably why we're at this space when it comes to celebrity adulation and celebrity fandom. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just so easy to just jump right into it, right? And like, I'm a Jay-Z fan, but everything that Jay-Z has done, I'm not in agreement with. I don't think every song he's made is the greatest song.
I don't like his hair right now.
You say you don't like his hair?
I don't like his hair right now, but it's okay. It's like, I don't have to like his hair. People can have opinions.
Just, you know what I'm saying? You really pushing the buttons today, Iman.
Them bees gonna be in them comments. It's gonna be in.
Iman, you ain't gonna be able to, all I'm gonna say, you're not gonna be able to log in next Tuesday.
They gonna ban me from y'all.
They ain't gonna be able to log in. No, but that's real. Belinda, you checked in and said, look, I remember music making you feel black and proud, made family memories, babies, not make music make you want to kill, fight, shake your arse, rob each other. I think that was always a part of our musical culture. We can't act like, look, I used to think like this too, but I had to take a step back and be honest. All of our music has always been ratchet. We just never used that term. Y'all remember back in the 90s?
It wasn't as hot though, Farajii.
No, it was ratchet. I can name you all. Back in the day, the music and the culture was ratchet. Look, one of our most loved artists walked around with his butt out of his pants, Prince.
That was art. That was art.
If when Lizzo does, take your drink, Iman. When Lizzo does it, we don't think that's art. We don't. I remember. Look, y'all remember? I mean, if you think about some of the songs from the 90s, they were very explicit. I remember Adina Howard. Y'all remember Adina Howard?
I remember Adina Howard.
Now, yeah. I remember Adina. Adina was she cut no cards.
She was a freak in the morning and a
freak in the morning, freak in the afternoon, freak in the evening. The whole thing, like everything, like there was always this highly sexual side to our music. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't all just black and proud stuff. It was sex. It was knocking boots. It was, some of the most, we talk about hip hop, Eazy-E and
the big timers. When
Two Live Crew.
Version.
Two Live Crew.
I agree, but if you take it back even further, let's take it to like Sam Cooke. Like music wasn't always like this. Like it became this because that's what our
No, I
culture.
get it. I get it. I'm just talking about within the past, let's say past, can we say past 30 or 40 years?
I agree with you. I'll
I'll
agree.
probably say 40 years.
I'll agree.
All right, maybe 35 years. Music has gotten more ratchet, but I don't want us to put a glossy image over a situation where there's always and guess what? You got to ask yourself, well, how did it get to that point? Because the people's preference starting to get more ratchet.
Can I raise my hand? Can I raise my hand?
Go ahead.
I sincerely feel as though it is to keep us on a different frequency and vibration. The megahertz that we were listening to music to, like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and those soulful sounds, it was literally a different frequency that we were on when we listened to that music. So they dumbed the frequency, they dumbed the megahertz down to dumb our frequency down. So now we're operating at our lower vibration. But that's beyond me. That's what I really think.
Here's the thing. Check this out. And and I believe the same thing too, Iman. But check this out. The difference now versus back then, we didn't see it happening. It was a gradual pull to lower our frequency. Now it's intentional in a sense that back in the day, we were like, oh man, damn, did y'all notice something different? Now it's like, I don't even care. I'm ratchet right now. I'm trying to get lit. You know, there's an intentional choice to be ignorant.
I agree.
See,
that's the big difference.
Philosophical. She being philosophical and all of that. I honestly think it's just the amount of what we accepted. They gave it to us. It made money, and they said, okay, we won't make these albums anymore. This is what people want. And we pick the culture. We are the culture, and this is what we wanted. That's where we're
So that's what I'm saying. The people's preferences. Here's the thing, and this is the conversation that I could see possibly being connected to what we're talking about with fandom, because it's like the chicken or the egg debate, right? Is it the preferences of the people, or is it the fact that our preferences has been conditioned where we were made to fall in love with a certain culture? You see what I'm saying? Is that really our culture, or is that some fabricated culture that we were made to fall in love with?
I don't know, because I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both. I think you're right. I think that there was some conditioning on our part, but at the end of the day, if we are sitting here having this conversation now, we've always been able to have this conversation of saying, I don't know if I want to hear that all the time, but yet we still accepted that was what we found as cool. Maybe like you're right, Farajii, it's because we saw it the most. Like the other stuff, they kind of just put it on the back burner. And then we just accepted it as that's what you listen to. That's what music is. Maybe that is true.
Maybe that is true. And, I think that because of where we are in the community, where the culture of the country is, like we, and again, this is a bigger conversation, but there is a greater level of quote unquote freedom that you could be who you want to be, do what you want to do. So people are rebelling against the boundaries and confinement. People are fighting against, not being able to express all different sides of themselves, right? Like, yeah, you can be conscious, but you can be ratchet too. You know what I mean? And I hear a lot of women say, no. I'm a classy woman, but there's another side of me that want to twerk every 10 minutes. So it's like like
bougie ratchet. Shout out to Karen L. She says she's bougie ratchet. That is what
bougie ratchet, right? And so people like that, right? So it's an ongoing conversation. It's an ongoing, but I think that's the part of when you're creating like this fandom among people where people are just like, they're going so far to protect. Because I think here's my final point. We put a lot of emphasis on these celebrities because they make us feel a certain way about ourselves.
Agreed.
Right? About where we are in our lives. If you are not happy with yourself in some case, and I'm not saying that because we all love people. We can be a fan, but y'all know what I mean, the extreme stuff. that speaks a lot about who you are.
Agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like that speaks a lot about how you see yourself.
Lizzo
Like
helped make a lot of big girls confident about their body shape and how they are and how they look. So I can understand psychologically why someone a part of Lizzo's camp would go so hard. So you make a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Even though I don't honestly, I don't think that Lizzo and like people say, I was watching Bill Maher the other day, and I know Bill, but you know, there's
every week, so I understand.
And very quickly, he was making a point like there's a thin line between body acceptance, right, and then just being overweight.
One day we can have that conversation about body positivity.
Lise, we gotta have that conversation because yes, you can love your body, but then you know your body can be in an unhealthy space too. So let's not empower people to love their unhealthiness. You know what I'm saying? So that's a different conversation. But I think this fandom situation is crazy and it is toxic, but we got to make sure we try to figure out like how do we balance that, because a lot of people are just not right nowadays because of celebrity culture. I remember back in the day, Paris Hilton was the big seller, celebrity person. Now it's Kim Kardashian. Now it's this person and that person. And the unfortunate consequences is women are killing themselves. Men are killing themselves to be other than themselves.
And
right. So that's the thing.
When you turn 40.
Right. All right, ladies, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's talk about Murder, Inc., folks. Do you know that there is a 5-part documentary that's going to be premiering on BET tonight to talk about the infamous record label? We'll check. I'm going to check in with the culture crew to get their take on, does this story need to be told? And then later, I got something for Trends, Posts, and Doing the Most. Stay with us. It's the culture on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to the culture here on the Black Star Network. All right, let's talk a little bit about a cultural moment, another big cultural moment. Do you remember the record label Murder, Inc.? If you don't remember the name, you definitely would know the artists. Ja Rule, Ashanti, DMX. The hits go on and on. Well, tonight on BET, they're going to be premiering their 5-part documentary about the rise, the fall, and the redemption of this record label that was headed up by Irv Gotti. And Keenan, when you get a chance, let me know when we can play a teaser of this. And I would love to show people, but I wanted to just check in with my culture crew, Lise Winnie, Iman Heath, because Lise and Iman, we all have been, you know, seeing all of these different type of documentaries about like everything that has really shaped Black music and Black culture, right? I mean, we've seen stories about everybody from New Edition to TLC, Whitney Houston. There's been shows about Wu-Tang. The Murder Inc. story, talking about Ja Rule, talking about how this company got started, talking about how it has shaped culture, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. It has shaped the sound, how it fell apart, and how it's now on a different trajectory. Does this story need to be told? Do we need to invest our time in watching the story, you think, Lise?
I mean, I think Irv Gotti, I watched him on Drink Champs. It was like 72 hours, and I think I watched all of it. He is very entertaining. I will say that Irv Gotti is entertaining as all get out. I think learning the history of music, because he was so influential, that Murder Inc. is and was that group, that crew. He changed so many things. He has been so influential in DMX's career and even with Jay-Z. The things that Irv Gotti has touched and been a part of, sure. He went away. We had the whole Rico situation that came into the mix. So I think why not? Why not? Why not at this point?
Why not? Here's a little trailer, and then Iman, I want to get your take on this. Here's the trailer of the Murder Inc. story premiering on BET tonight. Check this out.
My name is Irv Gotti. I created one of the most dominant record labels in history.
Murder Inc. hit #1 on the pop charts.
Murder Inc. had every hit in the universe back to back and wouldn't stop. Irv started getting high on X and Ashanti. Irv titled her the Princess of Murder Inc.
She became his #1 priority.
She turns to say goodbye. And I just kiss her and just mwah.
You could be one day on top of the world and wake up with the world on top of you.
Hell was upon us.
People were getting arrested.
They want me to snitch on my closest friend.
In no way, shape, or form have I done anything wrong.
Facing 20 years, 50 bombing on us. Smurf.
Wow.
Let me say this. One of the
go ahead,
reasons I don't think they should remake this story is because it's only coming from Irv Gotti. He has a lot of stuff in there about Ashanti, and he is salty as all get out about Ashanti, and that part I don't like. I don't like that. Mm-mm.
I don't like how he came off about her either. In Drinking Champs, like his tone when he spoke about it is like, you sound like a excuse my language, a bitch ass nigga. You really do. Like you the way he like talked as if she was there, like talked at her, very aggressive. His example of how a man should address a woman if there is an issue, and he claims it's not an issue. Like he's very possessive. It's very emotional. It's aggressive and emotional. It's
aggressive and emotional.
It's immature. Like it's I ain't watching it.
It's obsessive. Obsessive.
Yeah.
He kept going back to it, repeating it. So I could imagine what he put in this documentary. It's going to be slanted. It's going to be one-sided. It's just
she's not in it. She's not in it.
She did not sign off on this. She did not. Mm-hmm. She is not a part of this at all. And she's such a big part of their story that I don't know.
She was recently as part of, if I'm not mistaken, she was on a Versus with, is it Keisha Cole?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she looked great. She still sounded great. You know what I'm saying? Like she still didn't seem like she lost a step or lost a beat. So this is interesting. Like I saw this and I'll say, well, damn, like I remember the Ja Rule situation, but I don't know too much about her, the Ashanti side of the story, right?
I didn't know. I didn't know. He
didn't know.
He felt the need to take off his watch and read. Ashanti got him a watch or something. He felt the need to take the watch off to read what the back of it said. And then why wear that particular watch during the show? Come on now. You it's Farajii,
It's just too much. It's too much. So my question is like, when we're looking at these type of stories, there's culturally, it's like a keeping a record of how we have contributed to the culture, right? You know, you got all of these different like stories. On that side of things, I think it's a good idea. But then on the flip side, like you saying, Iman and Lise, that if you don't have all of the main players in as part of the storytelling, then maybe we should rethink telling that part of the story.
Agreed.
Is that? I mean, I don't know, because I just, you know, I would like to have heard Ashanti's side. I thought Ashanti would be in this.
No, I think it depends. So sometimes there are autobiographies that aren't authorized, and some of those are the best, because sometimes people don't want you to hear the true story, and it's the people around them that are going to give you the real deal.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Depends, but I think because he is so bitter, even though he says he's not, he's so bitter that I'm like, no, I don't think you should have made this without her being at least a part of it. Now, he did ask her, to his credit, he asked Ashanti to be a part of this, and she declined. She does not want to be a part of it. Rightfully so. Was a lot of legal things going on. He was married allegedly when they were talking. There's a lot of issues where Ashanti,
so he had a personal relationship with her.
Supposedly they were dating.
And he even felt the need to say how they were dealing with each other, and then after they were dealing with each other, she wrote the song "Happy," one of her number ones. Like the way he is he
manipulative. Manipulative. He's taking credit for everything. He said that she worked hard to get a record deal, and then he went, "But I put her on." So those are the types of things that I was like, I don't know, Irv. But I will say that Irv Gotti, as far as an interview, one of the most entertaining people you will ever see. I think they should have done it that way. Just interview him, get his side of it. Maybe not necessarily a documentary, because we got a documentary, then we got a movie coming, then we got a series coming. I'm like, how much Murder Inc. do we need? It's murder. Like, I got it. I got it.
Oh, you said it's murder. He is salty. All right, let's go to our comments. Brother King Lee. Hey, I was wondering, King, when you were going to check in. King, you said Brother Irv Gotti learned the business early, and he learned the hardness of the music industry. All props to the brother. You know, here's the thing about these brothers. We could put Jay in this class, but when you talk about like an Irv Gotti, Jermaine Dupri, Dame Dash, they all sound bitter.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Like I was like I said, you could put Jay-Z in it, but he obviously he ain't in the same. He's not in the same tax bracket as these guys, right?
Not even the
but
same.
My point is, it's interesting to watch the guy. I've watched Dame Dash interviews when he was on Breakfast Club and in other spaces, and it's like, bro, I hope you really talk to somebody. I hope you really because you carrying a lot in your spirit from and I'm being real serious, because I can only imagine here you went from nothing to the top of the music industry in the hip hop world, where you are the top of the top, right? You got the top artists, you getting the biggest deals, you getting money, you partying, the most beautiful women, you got all this stuff at your disposal. And then, boom, it's gone.
Irv Gotti even spoke on that a little bit.
And then you gotta pick yourself up without having the people around you and people questioning whether was it really you, or was it really you were mooching off of your artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can only imagine psychologically what that does to a person, right? To a black man. You know, because when I listen to Dame, I'm just like, damn, boy, like, woo. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you I hope you and Jay talk, man. Do y'all still talk? I mean, y'all cool? Like, you know, the last documentary I saw was the one about Kanye West on Netflix.
Oh, I didn't mind.
And I thought that was a good documentary because it wasn't Kanye telling his own story. It was a dude outside of his circle, right? And I thought the documentary was really good because you really could see this dude documented every like twist and turn and how Kanye became who he is today. But it's just like, that's what I often keep in my mind is like, these guys went through the highs and lows of success, power, influence, money, having money, not getting money, all these dealing with these people. And now they at a place where they're not Jay-Z. They're not Russell Simmons.
Well,
they're spoken of in the past tense.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to do something to you mentally.
I agree with that. But I think that we probably should hear these documentaries because when we see the hip hop artists, especially back in our day, our heyday, it was all about the crystal and the glamour. And you don't see the grimy, gritty side of the industry. You don't see that you're getting caught in this contract and you don't own anything. We don't see any of that. So sometimes, hearing that side of the industry, plus I think maybe hear Irv Gotti's side, but then also maybe Ashanti should come out and give her side of the story. So therefore we can make our own decision on what actually happened.
The only thing about that is who's going to give Ashanti the platform to tell her story like that? You mean you think she just do an interview? Because that's a long interview. Where she go on a podcast, you know what I'm saying? She can come on Drink Champs and be like, all right, let me share.
Bring Ashanti on the culture.
Yeah, the way people want to get that type of attention and audience after Irv Gotti, after this.
Come on the culture, Ashanti. Come on the culture.
Talk to us, sis. We want to hear your story.
Come on the culture. We'll let you get you. I'll get you a full platter, and then I'll bring you on too, Irv.
Right.
Make sure I'm on that day too. Make sure you get
come on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, but what was you saying, Yvonne?
What was I saying? You threw me off. But bring Irv on the show. You threw me off. I got mad all over again. I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, people want that type of attention. Like that is going to be that after he drops the documentary and it comes out and it premieres, everybody watches it. People are going to be hungry to hear and see what Ashanti is going to say. Is she going to make an Instagram post? Is she's going to go to tabloids? Is she going to go to Facebook and say something? Is she going to go on IG Live and say something like Khalees did? Yeah. So it's people going to give her a platform. Somebody going to give her a platform. Who is scared of Irv Gotti? Who is worried about losing a coin?
I don't think anybody's scared of him. I don't think anybody's scared of him.
So they can somebody on the platform. Absolutely.
The other one that I saw was, and this was some time ago. Did y'all see the one with Master P on it? The one he did?
I think I did. I think I did see that one.
He talked about being how he started No Limit Records. Mm-hmm. Look, after I saw that one, I was like, Master P, that guy. He that dude for real. You know what I'm saying? Like he really that guy. And I'll never forget the line. There were a couple of big moments to me, but there was a moment he's like, yeah, I met Shug, but I told Shug I'm from New Orleans. Mm-hmm. You ain't crossing me like that, man. Like I ain't one of these dudes. I'm a grown ass man. And it was like, whoa. Master P is that guy. Like Master P, much love to Master P, man. Much love to Master P. Cause he grew in his consciousness a lot. You could tell. He's not a guy for play. Like he will tell you, like, yo, this is what it is. The other thing I love is that when he brought artists onto his record label, he put their like homes and cars in their name. So even if they are no longer with him, you have a place to live. You have a car to drive. Because he said, I wanted to empower artists. I thought that was powerful. Mm-hmm. That's a powerful piece. So, I think to your point, Lise, we do need to hear these stories because hip hop is as much as it is out there, flashy, there is a very secret part of hip hop. It's still enigmatic because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We hear the hit records, we see the persona with the flashiness, but there's something about hearing that hidden behind the scenes story that is powerful. All right, let me just get to a couple of people that are checking in as we close this out. Nisa, you say it's a no for me, and the fact that Ashanti has to remake all of her recordings because they're taking her money has me uncomfortable with it. Wow. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Farajii, it's bad, bro. It is.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. That's really bad.
Well, according to Karina, let her have it. So
right. Karina, you said, remember his reality show and how he treated his wife? All due respect, sis. Let's not use the N-word in the governance structure. This space allows us to escape the social dynamics. Facts. Facts. Sandy, you checked in and said, Irv seems to be the life of the party, but not one to consult on many good life choices. LOL. Lenora, thank you so much, Sandy. Lenora, you checked in and said there are always at least 3 sides to a story: your side, their side, and the truth. And ain't that the truth?
That is the truth.
Yes. That is the truth. And Mingli Natasha Surge, you said all of hip hop's demons can't been on Front Street on the internet lately. That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true. Mm-hmm. There has been a reckoning about what's been happening behind the scenes. And personally, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Out of the Me Too movement, people thought like the story of what happened with Russell Simmons was going to crack open the Pandora's box.
And that was a good doc.
And it was a good doc, but guess what? It didn't. It really didn't. The story of women really was not put out there. The horror, the pain, and all of those things. I think there is a value to putting stuff out there like this. Whether you're talking about on the hip hop side, or whether you're talking about what's going on with Abercrombie and Fitch or Victoria's Secret, we need to know the truth, because we need to learn from it. We can't keep operating from a space where we allow abuse to happen. We allow people to not being heard or to be screwed over. I mean, we just gotta deal with it, especially in the hip hop industry. If we got a clean house, we got to clean house. I love the music. I love the culture, but it can be poisonous. It can be toxic.
Thanks.
And I don't want to pass that on to the next generation. All right, ladies. Well, I appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you.
I thank y'all. Thank you so much for checking in as always. Tuesdays. Iman, hopefully I can get in touch with you next week.
Listen, to be honest, I overslept today. I woke up, I said, wait a minute, get up.
No, you ain't oversleep. You know what happened? The Beehive knew you was coming on. They turned off your alarm.
Mm-hmm. Right, you know what? I'm gonna blame it on.
And guess what? Guess what? If you don't have your IG, if you're not telling your great fantastical stories on IG, guess what? I know why.
Buzz.
You went too far. You went too far, Iman. You went too far. You can't say certain things in public. Keep that in your head, sis. Keep it in your head.
I'm in trouble. I see.
Keep that in your head. Lise, thank you so much, sis, for continuing to do the great work you're doing with your show. Do we need to keep up? What you got happening with Millennials Anonymous?
So there'll be a brand new episode coming out. Actually, one probably be dropping tomorrow and then Monday. Usually they come out on Mondays. So if you want to follow, you can go to Millennials with a Z, because the other one was taken .us, and you will be able to see all of the shows and content that we got coming out.
See, that's a little behind the scenes stuff I love to hear. The S was taken, so I had to change it to a Z. And that's the stuff I love, Lise. I love that stuff.
Keep it real.
They'd be like, that's cool how you spelled it with a Z. What was that? Was that a creative thing? You'd be like, no, the S was taken.
I had to.
The S was just taken. All right, Lise Winnie, Iman Heath, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, sisters, for being so good for the culture.
Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this weather out here a little bit. Make sure y'all continue to show y'all's love and support for Black Star Network. Go to our website right now, blackstarnetwork.com, and you can show your support financially. That's what we need right now. We're looking for financial support. We're trying to take this thing 24 hours streaming. We're trying to add more programming on to the show. We're talking about more daily shows. more weekly shows. We want to do some special events. We're trying to do a lot, and we need your support. We don't want to be owned by anybody else other than the people. So Black-owned media is essential, and your support is critical. Join us right now at blackstarnetwork.com. Make sure you download the app for free, and most importantly, share the content with your family and friends. And let's continue to the big movement of making Black news, telling Black stories matter. Check it out at blackstarnetwork.com. All right, stay tuned. Up next at the 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is my big brother, Roland Martin, with Roland Martin Unfiltered. As always, family, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. I think I'm going to go ahead and play with the kids out here in the park. Talk to you tomorrow, folks. Have a great day. Peace.